Meet Clinton. Clinton lives in New York City. He's 38 years old. He works in IT, pulls in $87,000 a year, and honestly, he's doing everything society told him to do. He got the degree. He got the job. He got the apartment in Queens, a decent 2-bedroom. He drives a 2022 Toyota Camry he's still paying off. He eats out maybe 3 times a week because he deserves it. He upgraded his phone last fall, upgraded his wardrobe when he got promoted, and yes, he even has a 401 he contributes to, sort of, when it feels manageable. On paper, Clinton looks like a success story, but here's what Clinton doesn't know. At the end of every single month, after all the bills, the subscriptions, the car note, the dinners, the credit card minimum, the Amazon orders he barely remembers making, Clinton has about $190 left over. $190 on $87,000 a year. That's not a typo. Now meet Priscilla. Priscilla lives 4 subway stops from Clinton. Also in New York, she makes $54,000 a year as a school administrator. On paper, she earns $33,000 less than him. Her apartment is smaller. She doesn't drive. She meal preps on Sundays, doesn't lease anything, and her phone is 2 years old. You'd look at these 2 people and assume Clinton is the one winning. But here's what's actually happening. Priscilla is putting away $1,100 a month into investments. She has 8 months of expenses saved. She has 0 credit card debt, and her net worth has grown by $47,000 in the last 3 years alone. Clinton, his net worth has grown by $4,200 in the same period. And a large chunk of that is just his car depreciating less than he feared. Same city, different financial realities, same life stage, wildly different trajectories. So, here's the question nobody asks Clinton, and nobody asks you. What if the middle-class climb itself is the trap? Not bad luck, not a bad job, not the economy, though the economy is not helping, but the actual ladder you're climbing? What if every rung of that ladder has a price tag attached to it? And what if every time you climb higher, you spend more just to stay there and you call that progress? Because there's a number attached to this, and the number is uncomfortable. The average American household trying to look middle class, the right neighborhood, the right car, the right stuff is quietly hemorrhaging $500,000 or more over a lifetime on things that feel like upgrades but are actually anchors. Not in one big decision, in dozens of small, normal, completely acceptable ones. The kind that nobody warns you about because everyone around you is doing the same thing. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where that money goes. My name is Floxy, and this is the math they never taught you. Here's the truth nobody in your circle is going to tell you. Climbing the middle class is not the same as building wealth. In fact, for millions of Americans, the harder they climb, the further behind they fall. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 invisible costs of middle-class climbing that are quietly draining your future, one normal decision at a time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where the $500,000 goes, why it keeps happening to smart, hardworking people, and what to do differently starting this week. This is educational content, not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, I'm just someone who's done the math. And the math is brutal. Let's get into it. Now, before you think this is just Floxy's opinion, let's look at what the data actually says. Because this isn't a feelings problem. This is a math problem. And the numbers are hiding in plain sight. Fact number 1. According to a 2025 Goldman Sachs report, 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. Nearly half of people making almost $500,000 annually have no real financial cushion. If that's happening at $400K, imagine what's happening at $87,000. The assumption that more income solves the problem is the first lie the middle-class ladder sells you. Fact number 2. The youth's personal savings rate as of late, 2025, sat at just 3.6%. That means for every $100 Americans bring home, they're keeping less than $4. The rest? Gone. Spent on the lifestyle, on the climb, on looking like it's working. Fact number 3, and this one is the counterintuitive one. Research from the Millionaire Next Door, one of the most comprehensive studies ever done on actual wealthy Americans, found that most millionaires don't live in the nicest neighborhoods, don't drive luxury cars, and don't look wealthy at all. About 94% of millionaires still live in middle-class or modest neighborhoods, even after crossing the $1 million mark. Here's what that means in plain language. The people who look the most middle-class successful are often the ones building the least wealth. And the people quietly building real money, you'd walk right past them on the street and never know. The climb isn't building wealth. For most people, the climb is the problem. So why does this keep happening? Why does Clinton, a smart, educated, hard-working guy making $87,000 a year in New York, end up with $190 at the end of every month? It's not because he's irresponsible. It's not because he's lazy. It's not even because New York is expensive, though it is. It's because of something psychologists call lifestyle inflation. And it is one of the most invisible financial forces in America today. Here's how it works. Every time your income goes up, your brain quietly recalibrates what normal looks like. The $12 lunch becomes a $22 lunch. The Honda becomes a Camry. The Camry becomes an SUV. The shared apartment becomes a solo one. The solo apartment becomes a bigger one in a better neighborhood because you've earned it. Each individual upgrade feels completely reasonable. You worked hard. You got the raise. You deserve better. And honestly, none of those things are wrong on their own. The problem is what happens when they stack. Because those upgrades don't just cost money once. They cost money every single month forever, until your entire paycheck is already spoken for before it even hits your account. And here's the trap inside the trap. Once you've inflated your lifestyle, going back feels like failure. Downgrading the apartment feels embarrassing. Selling the car feels like admitting something went wrong. So you stay. You maintain. You keep climbing just to hold your position. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You run faster and faster just to stay in the same place emotionally. The upgrade that made you happy last year is just normal life this year, so you need another one, and another. There's also something called social comparison, and in 2026, it has never been more dangerous. You're not just comparing yourself to your neighbors anymore. You're comparing yourself to every curated highlight reel on social media, every coworker's vacation photo, every friend's kitchen renovation, every LinkedIn promotion announcement. And research confirms it. The 2025 Goldman Sachs report explicitly cited keeping up with the Joneses as a primary driver of financial stress, even among six-figure earners. Here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. This is not a moral failure. Clinton is not a bad person. He's not irresponsible. He's not weak. He walked into a system specifically designed to capture every dollar of income growth before he could save it. The car industry, the housing market, the subscription economy, the restaurant industry, they all expand to meet your income. Always. You're not undisciplined. You're in a structural trap. And the solution isn't willpower. The solution is seeing the trap clearly and making different decisions with that knowledge. That's exactly what we're about to do. Trap number 1, the status car sentence. Let's start with the one nobody wants to talk about because everybody's doing it. The car. Meet Charles. Charles is 32, lives in the Bronx, just got promoted, and decides he finally deserves something nicer. He trades in his paid-off Civic and signs a 2-month loan on a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. His monthly payment? $748. Charles thinks he made a smart move. He got a good interest rate. He negotiated. He feels good driving to work. But here's what Charles didn't calculate. $748 a month over 6 years is $53,856 out of pocket. The Pathfinder, which started at $48,000, will be worth maybe $18,000 when the loan is done. He lost $30,000 to depreciation alone. Add insurance at $220 a month for a newer vehicle, and Charles is spending nearly $11,500 a year just to have transportation that looks good. Now here's the counterfactual math, the math that hurts. If Charles had kept his paid-off Civic and invested that $748 every month into a simple index fund, averaging 8% annual returns in 20 years, that money becomes $445,000. He didn't buy a car. He traded $445,000 for a car. And here's what makes this a middle-class trap specifically. Nobody bats an eye at a $748 car payment. It's normal. It's what people at Charles's income level do. The bank approved it. His co-workers are doing the same thing. The dealership made it feel responsible. But normal and wealth building are not the same thing. The rule that wealthy people actually follow. Total transportation costs should never exceed 10% of your take-home pay, not the car payment alone total. Insurance, gas, maintenance, everything. For most middle-class climbers, that number is sitting at 20 to 25%. That gap right there is one of the biggest invisible drains in America. Trap number 2, the house they couldn't afford not to buy. Now let's talk about the big one. The one that comes with a congratulations card and a mortgage you'll be paying until you're 68. John and his wife Clara live in Brooklyn. They've been renting a decent 2-bedroom for $2,400 a month. They're doing okay. They have some savings, and then the pressure starts. Their friends bought a house. Their parents keep asking when they're buying. Their Instagram feed is full of kitchen reveals and backyard barbecues. So John and Clara go to the bank. The bank looks at their combined income, $130,000, and says, "Congratulations. You're approved for up to $620,000. $620,000. John and Clara buy a $560,000 home in a good school district in Staten Island. Their mortgage payment is $3,200 a month. Add property taxes, $7,800 a year in New York. Homeowners insurance, $2,400 a year. Maintenance, roughly 1% of home value annually, so another $5,600 a year. Their total housing cost, nearly $4,700 a month. They went from $2,400 in rent to $4,700 in total housing costs. That's $2,300 more every single month gone. Not invested, not saved, gone. And here is the part nobody tells you at the closing table. The bank's definition of affordable has nothing to do with your actual financial life. When a lender approves you for $620,000, they are calculating the maximum you can pay without immediately defaulting. They are not factoring in your retirement contributions. They are not factoring in childcare. They are not factoring in the fact that the HVAC is going to die in year 3 and cost $8,000 to replace. They gave John and Clara a number. John and Clara treated that number like permission. According to the Atlanta Fed's Housing Affordability Monitor, owning a median-priced home in a major U.S. metro now consumes nearly 48% of the median household's income. The traditional rule says housing should be 30% or under. The middle-class ladder told John and Clara that buying was the smart move, and maybe long-term, it is if they can survive the short term without gutting their financial future. But right now, they have almost nothing left to invest, and that's the trap. The house isn't wrong. The price of the house relative to everything else they committed to, that's what cost them. Trap number 3, lifestyle subscriptions that never cancel themselves. This one is quiet. This one doesn't feel like a trap at all. Priscilla, remember her from the intro, did an audit of her subscriptions last year. Just as an experiment, she wrote down every recurring charge hitting her account every month: Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Spotify, Amazon Prime, a meal kit service she used twice, an app she downloaded in January, a gym membership she kept meaning to use, Duolingo Plus, iCloud storage, a news subscription, a meditation app, 3 separate streaming services for shows she watches once every 2 months. Total, $287 a month. $287 a month she had completely stopped noticing. That's $3,444 a year. Invested at 8% over 25 years, $256,000. Now multiply that across a household where 2 people are doing the same thing separately. You're looking at over $500,000 in lifetime wealth quietly drained, one forgotten $12.99 charge at a time. Here's why this is specifically a middle-class trap. When income is low, people scrutinize every charge. When income rises, the scrutiny drops. The charges feel small relative to what's coming in, so they stay. They multiply. They normalize. The streaming bundle that was supposed to replace your $120 cable bill. The average American household is now spending over $100 a month on streaming services alone, essentially rebuilding the cable bill piece by piece, just with more passwords. The rule here is simple, but almost nobody follows it. Once a quarter, audit every recurring charge on your accounts. Every single one. Ask, if I had to sign up for this again today, at this price, would I? If the answer is no, cancel it. Today. Not next month. Today. The wealthy don't cancel things because they're cheap. They cancel things because they understand that every dollar redirected to investments today is worth multiple dollars in the future. They've run the math, and the math always wins. Trap number 4, the social yes spiral. Now this one is personal, because it doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like friendship. Clinton, our guy from the beginning, has a good group of friends, and his friends like to do things. Dinners, concerts, weekend trips, birthday celebrations at restaurants where the cheapest entree is $38, group gifts for people he barely knows, bachelor parties in Miami. Each individual yes feels small, reasonable, human. But let's do the math on Clinton's social calendar for 1 year. 6 dinners out with the group, $85 average per person, including drinks and tip. That's $510. 4 concerts or events, $120 average. That's $480. 2 weekend trips, $600 average. That's $1,200. 4 birthday celebrations and group gifts, $150 average. That's $600. 1 bachelor party, $800. Total social spending for the year, $3,590. On an $87,000 salary, Clinton doesn't think twice about any of these individually. But $3,590 invested at 8% annually for 25 years. That's $262,000. And here is the uncomfortable truth. A lot of that spending wasn't even about enjoyment. It was about not being the person who said no. It was about maintaining an image, about not seeming broke, about keeping up with what people at his income level are supposed to do. Peer pressure doesn't end in high school. It just gets more expensive. The middle-class social contract says, when you earn more, you spend more on the people around you. Nicer restaurants, better trips, more rounds at the bar. And because everyone in your circle earns similar amounts, everyone is doing the same thing and nobody's building anything. The solution isn't becoming antisocial. It's learning to say, not this time, without a 5-paragraph explanation. It's suggesting alternatives. A free park instead of a $90 dinner, a potluck instead of a restaurant, a road trip instead of flights. The people who genuinely care about you will understand. The ones who don't, they weren't worth the $800 Miami trip. Trap number 5, the upgrade reflex. Every time Clinton gets a raise, and he's gotten 3 in 6 years, something predictable happens. Within 3 months, his expenses go up to match. Not because he sat down and decided to spend more. It just happened. New raise, new apartment, better furniture, better neighborhood, better car to match. Better car, you see where this is going. This is lifestyle inflation on autopilot. And it is the single biggest reason high earners end up with nothing to show for decades of hard work. Here's the data that makes this real. The median American household income has increased significantly over the past 2 decades in nominal terms. But according to the Economic Policy Institute, real wage growth adjusted for what things actually cost has barely moved, because every time wages crept up, expenses crept up faster. And it's not just housing and cars. It's the upgrade reflex across every category. The $8 lunch becomes a $17 lunch. The $40 haircut becomes a $90 haircut. The $30 bottle of wine becomes a $65 bottle because you know the difference now. The economy flight becomes premium economy becomes business class for long hauls. The Old Navy wardrobe slowly becomes J. Crew, then slowly becomes something with a logo on it. None of these are outrageous purchases individually. Every single one feels earned. But compounded across a decade, the upgrade reflex is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost investment potential. The rule that actually works. Every time your income increases, decide in advance where that money goes, not after the lifestyle expands to swallow it before. A simple framework. Put 50% of every raise directly into investments or debt payoff. The other 50% you can enjoy. Your life improves. Your wealth improves. Nobody has to be miserable. But you have to make that decision deliberately before the upgrade reflex makes it for you. Trap number 6. Debt that got normalized. Let's talk about Charles again for a second. Charles has a car note. He has a credit card he carries a balance on usually between $3,000 and $4,500. He has $28,000 left on his student loans. And last year, he opened a buy now, pay later account for a new laptop and some furniture. Is Charles in a debt crisis? No. His payments are manageable. He's not missing anything. He's doing fine. That's exactly the problem. His debt has become normal. Background noise. A permanent feature of his financial landscape that he's stopped questioning. But let's look at what that normal is actually costing him. His credit card balance of $3,500 at an average interest rate of 22%. That's $770 a year, paid directly to a bank for nothing, not for a product, not for an experience, just for the privilege of owing money. His student loans at 6.5% interest on $28,000. He's paying over $1,800 a year in interest, while the principal barely moves on minimum payments. Total interest drain per year, just on those 2 items, nearly $2,600. Invested instead over 20 years at 8%, $129,000. That's the real cost of normalized debt, not the monthly payment, the compounded opportunity cost of every dollar that goes to interest instead of investment. And here's what makes it a middle-class trap specifically. At lower incomes, debt is a crisis. People panic. They call hotlines. They make payment plans. At middle-class incomes, debt becomes lifestyle infrastructure. It's just part of how things work. Everyone has a car note. Everyone has credit card debt. Everyone has student loans. It's normal. But normal and optimal are not the same thing. Carrying high-interest debt while investing is financially irrational. Paying 22% interest on a credit card balance while putting 6% into a 401k doesn't balance out. You're losing the spread every single month. The sequence matters. Pay off high-interest debt first, then invest aggressively. The math is that simple. The psychology is what makes it hard. Trap number 7. The retirement they keep postponing. And this is the one that hurts the most to talk about, because it's invisible until it isn't. Clara, John's wife, is 35. She has a 401k through work. She contributes 4% because that's what her employer matches. She tells herself she'll increase it when the mortgage gets more manageable, when the kids are older, when things settle down a bit. Meanwhile, Priscilla, same age, $33,000 less income, has been contributing 15% since she was 28. She started with $200 a month and automated it so she never saw the money hit her account. Let's run the math on what Clara's delay actually costs. Someone who invests $500 a month starting at age 28 at 8% average annual return has $1.7 million by age 65. Someone who starts at 35 with the same amount, $1.1 million. 7 years of delay. Same monthly investment, $600,000 difference. That's not a rounding error. That's the cost of waiting for things to settle down. And here's the brutal part. Things don't settle down. The mortgage doesn't get easier. The kids don't get cheaper. The right time to start aggressively investing is a moment that never naturally arrives because the middle-class lifestyle is perfectly calibrated to consume every dollar available. The only way to break this is to make retirement contributions automatic, mandatory, and invisible, not what's left over. First, before the lifestyle touches it. Because as we've seen with Clinton, Charles, John, and Clara, if you wait for leftover money, there is no leftover money. There is only what you protect before the climb consumes it. Now here's the thing I need you to sit with for a moment. Because if you look at all 7 of those traps together, the car, the house, the subscriptions, the social pressure, the upgrade reflex, the normalized debt, the postponed retirement, they don't look like 7 separate problems. They are one problem, wearing 7 different outfits. And the name of that problem is this. You have been optimizing for how your life looks instead of how your life works. Every single trap we walk through had the same engine running underneath it. The car that signals success, the house in the right neighborhood, the dinners with the right people, the wardrobe that matches the income, the lifestyle that says I made it. And here's the devastating irony. The more aggressively you climb toward looking middle-class successful, the further you get from actually being financially free. Because there are 2 cycles available to you. And most people don't realize they're choosing one of them every single day. The vicious cycle looks like this. You earn more, so you spend more. Spending more raises your baseline. Raising your baseline means you need to earn even more just to stay comfortable. And every dollar that goes to maintaining the image is a dollar that never compounds, never grows, never buys you options. It just disappears into the climb. The virtuous cycle looks like this. You earn money, you protect a portion of it first, before the lifestyle touches it. That protected portion compounds. Over time, the compounding starts doing more work than you are. Your money starts making money. And slowly, quietly, you stop needing the image because the actual numbers tell a better story. Priscilla is not lucky. She's not making more than Clinton. She just chose the second cycle earlier. And every month she stays in it. The gap between her and Clinton widens, not because of income, but because of which engine is running. The middle-class ladder isn't evil. Wanting a comfortable life isn't wrong. But the ladder was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you look wealthy, while the banks, the car dealerships, the subscription companies, and the mortgage industry quietly collect the difference. Now you see it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what do you actually do with this? Because information without action is just entertainment. And I didn't make this video to entertain you. I made it to change something for you. Here's your roadmap, broken down by time horizon. Pick the ones that apply and start today, not next Monday, not next month, today. This week, do 1 subscription audit. Open your bank statement right now. Find every recurring charge. Write them down. Cancel anything you haven't used in the last 30 days. Don't think about it. Just cancel. That money goes directly into savings starting this month. Calculate your actual transportation cost. Not just your car payment, everything. Insurance, gas, maintenance, the whole number. If it exceeds 10% of your monthly take-home pay, you are overspending on a depreciating asset. Make a plan to fix that at your next vehicle decision. This quarter, increase your retirement contribution by at least 2%. Just 2%. You will not feel it in your paycheck. But over 20 years, that 2% compounds into tens of thousands of dollars. Log into your 401k portal this week and change the number. Then automate a monthly transfer to a separate high-yield savings account, even $100. The habit matters more than the amount right now. This year, every raise you receive, commit 50% of the increase to investments or debt payoff before your lifestyle touches it. Write it down somewhere. Tell someone you trust. Make it a rule, not a intention. Ongoing. Ask yourself one question before every significant purchase. Not, can I afford this? Because with a credit card, the answer is almost always yes. Ask, what am I trading for this? Because every dollar you spend is a dollar that stops compounding. Sometimes the trade is absolutely worth it, but make it consciously. Make it deliberately. Stop letting the climb decide for you. Remember Clinton, 38 years old. New York City, $87,000 a year, $190 left at the end of every month. Right now, Clinton has two paths in front of him. On the first path, nothing changes. He keeps climbing, gets the next raise, upgrades the apartment, maybe trades the Camry for something newer. The subscriptions keep stacking. The social yeses keep coming. The retirement contributions stay at, I'll increase it later. And 10 years from now, Clinton is 48, earning more than ever and still wondering where it all went. Still $190 away from actually building something. On the second path, Clinton sees the trap. He runs the math. He picks one thing, just one from everything we talked about today. Maybe it's the subscription audit. Maybe it's automating an extra 2% into his 401k. Maybe it's deciding right now that the next raise goes to investments before lifestyle gets a vote. And that one thing, that single decision, starts the virtuous cycle, slowly, quietly, without anyone at the dinner table even noticing. Because real wealth doesn't announce itself. It compounds in the background, while everyone else is busy climbing. Clinton can be Priscilla. You can be Priscilla. The income difference doesn't matter as much as you think. The cycle you choose matters everything. So here's your challenge, not a suggestion. A challenge. Pick one thing from this video. Do it today. Not tomorrow. Not after the weekend. Today. Because the $500,000 gap between Clinton and Priscilla didn't open up in one bad decision. It opened up in thousands of small, daily, completely forgettable ones. And it closes the same way. One decision at a time. If this video made something click for you, if you finally saw the trap clearly for the first time, subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, I break down the money mechanics that schools never taught you in a way that actually makes sense for real life. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what city are you watching from? New York? Atlanta? Houston? Chicago? Los Angeles? Wherever you are, this trap is running in your city too. Let me know where you're at and tell me which of these 7 traps hit closest to home. I read every single comment. I'll see you in the next one.